Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Westferry Times. I'm Emily, your host. It's really great to have you with us for another deep dive. Thank you for watching Westferry Times. Today we're tackling, well, a really big one. The future of work, right here in the UK. It's a topic buzzing with, incredible potential and, let's be honest, some real concerns too. How might our lives change as automation and artificial intelligence get more sophisticated?
Absolutely. It's less a question of if, really, and more about how these technologies will reshape things
Yeah.
and what we can actually do to prepare.
Exactly. We want to get past the headlines, and really dig into what's happening on the ground. Which jobs are facing the most disruption? What new opportunities might pop up? And crucially, how can workers and businesses too navigate this shifting landscape?
Hmm.
To help us make sense of it all, we're thrilled to have Dr. James Carter back with us. He's a leading economist and consultant advising government bodies, Fortune 500 companies, really understands the future of labor, automation, AI integration. Welcome back.
Thanks. It's always a pleasure to be a part of this kind of conversation. It's just so vital, isn't it, that we have these more in-depth discussions to really get a handle on the forces at play.
Okay, let's dive right in then. We hear so much about AI and automation, but what's the current picture? Like in the UK job market right now, what's actually happening beyond the buzzwords?
Yeah, good question. We're seeing a really interesting steady acceleration in how AI is being used practically. It's definitely moved beyond just, theoretical chats. It's actively being deployed across quite a range of sectors. So, for example, in finance, AI algorithms are now pretty crucial in spotting fraudulent transactions. They do it with a speed and accuracy that, well, older methods just can't match.
Right, much faster.
Much faster. And in logistics, especially warehouses, you've got sophisticated robotics optimizing inventory, fulfilling orders. Think about how that changes delivery speeds.
Yeah, definitely noticed that.
And even in fields like law or healthcare, AI is increasingly used for tasks like sifting through huge numbers of documents or even helping with initial diagnoses based on data patterns. What's really noteworthy, I think, is that while some of this does automate specific tasks, often the AI is augmenting human skills. It provides insights, support, but the final decision, that often stays with a person. It's much more dynamic, more collaborative than just simple job replacement.
That's a really important distinction to make. So it's not always a straight swap, human for machine.
Hmm.
Okay, thinking about specific areas then, which industries in the UK are really kind of on the front lines of this change? Where are we seeing the biggest shifts already?
Well, retail has seen a massive shift. The pandemic really accelerated that, of course. Beyond just online shopping, you've got widespread self-checkouts now, right? Inventory management robots in the back, dynamic pricing algorithms adjusting costs almost constantly.
Dynamic pricing, yeah.
Logistics, as we touched on, is another key one. Fulfillment centers, like Amazon's operations, are prime examples of how robotics and AI are just fundamentally changing how things work.
Very visible example.
Very. And healthcare is also evolving fast.
Hmm.
AI helping analyze medical images for earlier diagnoses, chatbots handling initial patient questions, triage sometimes, and robotic surgery, while still needing human oversight, is becoming more common for certain procedures.
Wow.
Even banking, you know.
Hmm.
AI chatbots for customer service, sophisticated fraud monitoring, algorithmic trading, that's all pretty much the norm now.
It really seems like industries that handle tons of data or have lots of repetitive tasks or just need that efficiency boost, they're the main ones being transformed. It's quite something to see how embedded it's all becoming.
Yeah.
What about the public sector, though? Is the pace similar there?
The public sector tends to move, let's say, more deliberately, often because of regulations, budgets, you know how it is. But there's definitely experimentation going on. We are seeing local councils exploring AI for things like processing benefits claims more efficiently,
Right.
or even streamlining parts of planning applications. It's maybe a slower burn compared to the private sector, but the potential impact on public services, it's definitely being looked at. And that brings up a crucial point, doesn't it, about making sure everyone benefits from these advances, not just certain sectors.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with all this change happening, what's the actual impact on workers, on people in the UK? I imagine it's a real mix of experiences.
It absolutely is. For many workers, there's this genuine mix of, well, anxiety and opportunity.
Mm.
Some people in roles with highly repetitive tasks, manual stuff, or data entry, they might face job losses or maybe reduced hours. But conversely, others are finding chances to upskill. They move into more specialized roles that work with these new technologies. That can mean promotions, totally new career paths. Broadly speaking, we see blue-collar jobs, the physical routine ones, are more susceptible to physical automation, whereas white-collar jobs are maybe facing more disruption from algorithms, especially in data analysis, processing information.
Okay.
But honestly, the most pressing challenge, I think, is the growing skills mismatch.
Ah, the skills gap.
Exactly. We're seeing completely new job types emerge. Think AI trainers, people who actually teach the algorithms, or data ethicists, ensuring AI systems are fair. Prompt engineers who get the best out of large language models. The problem is we just don't have enough people right now with the specific skills for these new roles.
That skills gap feels huge. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, if our education system is actually preparing young people for this, for the jobs that will exist.
That is a critical question. And while coding skills are valuable, definitely, they're not the whole answer, not by a long shot. What's becoming absolutely essential are broader skills, things like critical thinking, adaptability, just being able to roll with new tech and processes, and strong digital literacy, just understanding the digital world. It's really about fostering that mindset of, lifelong learning, equipping people with core skills to handle constant change.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit.
Yeah.
Thinking about policy and how businesses are responding. What are we seeing in the UK? Is the response keeping up with how fast the tech is moving?
Well, the UK government has certainly acknowledged how important this is. Initiatives like the AI regulation white paper, that's a start, right? Trying to build a framework.
A starting point, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a growing feeling, I think, a consensus that we need more decisive, more long-term planning. Key areas. We definitely need a proper national reskilling initiative, something comprehensive to help workers transition. Maybe tax incentives to encourage ethical automation, not just cost cutting.
Sure.
And the modernizing apprenticeships, making sure they teach the skills actually needed now and in the future. It's interesting, there's quite a debate around how much government should steer this. What's the right level of intervention?
And what about businesses themselves? They're the ones actually implementing all this tech. What are they doing?
It's varied, as you'd expect. Some big companies, you hear about PwC, BT, for example, they're investing quite heavily in internal training, upskilling their own workforce.
That makes sense for them.
It does. But smaller businesses, they often face real challenges, limited resources, money, time, expertise. There's a clear need for more support for SMEs, small and medium enterprises, maybe through grants or accessible training toolkits, stronger links with universities, colleges. It raises that important question again. How do we make sure the benefits of AI aren't just hoarded by the big players?
Let's pivot slightly, maybe to a more optimistic view. It can feel a bit, doom and gloom focusing just on job losses. Where's the exciting potential here? How could AI and automation actually make things better, create new stuff?
Oh, the positive potential is immense, really. AI could help us tackle some massive challenges. Think about more accurate climate modeling, maybe breakthroughs in medical research, developing truly personalized education. Things that have been really hard problems for a long time.
Right, tackling the big stuff.
Exactly. And there's a real opportunity for AI to take over many of the, frankly, mundane, repetitive tasks that fill up our workdays. That could free up human creativity, our intellect, to focus on things only humans can do well. Empathy, complex problem solving, leadership, strategy. What excites me is the potential for a more sort of human-centric future of work, where technology handles the drudgery,
That is a compelling vision. And beyond just freeing up time in existing roles, what about completely new jobs? What kind of things do you see emerging directly because of AI?
Yeah, we're already seeing totally new professions pop up. We mentioned AI ethicists, people focusing purely on fairness and bias in algorithms, that's crucial. Or drone traffic managers. Imagine, as autonomous drones become common, someone needs to manage that airspace.
Sure.
Climate analysts using sophisticated AI models to predict environmental changes. Virtual world designers creating immersive digital spaces. The future of work isn't just adapting old jobs. It's actively creating new ones we can maybe barely even imagine today.
Which just underlines again, doesn't it? The need for adaptability, for that willingness to keep learning throughout your career.
It really does. We actually had some fantastic questions come in from our listeners. Shall we tackle a couple now?
Excellent. Yes, fire away.
Okay, first up, we have a question from Rachel in Bristol. She works as a middle manager in retail. Rachel asks, with increasing automation in retail, what skills should I focus on developing to future-proof my career? That's a very relevant question for Rachel. Okay, in retail, with more automation coming in, focusing on the uniquely human skills is absolutely key. So, develop your emotional intelligence. That's understanding and managing emotions, your own, your teams, your customers. That becomes more valuable. Strong leadership skills. Guiding teams through change is critical. Cultivate adaptability, be willing, eager even, to learn new tech, new processes. And finally, aim for what you might call tech fluency. Not necessarily becoming a coder, Rachel, but understanding how these systems work, how they can be used well, really the ability to lead people effectively, while also understanding the systems they're using. That combination will be incredibly valuable.
Great advice. And we have another question, this one from Adil in Manchester. He's thinking about a career change interested in AI. Adil asks, given my interest in AI, would you recommend going back to university for a formal degree or focusing on more practical routes like boot camps and industry certifications?
Okay, that's a thoughtful question, Adil. And the best path, honestly, it really depends on your specific goals and maybe your background. If you're aiming for, say, deep technical development roles, really building AI systems, then yes, a formal computer science degree with an AI focus gives a very strong theoretical foundation.
Right, for the deep stuff.
Exactly. But for more applied roles, focusing on using AI, implementing it, practical application, then intensive boot camps, specialized industry certifications, online courses, those can be incredibly valuable. They get you in-demand skills quickly. The key for Adil, I think, is to figure out which part of AI interests him most. Then research the best ways to get those specific skills. And remember, whichever route you start with, continuous learning is just going to be essential. This field changes so fast. Lifelong learning is the name of the game.
Absolutely. Well, this has been such an insightful discussion, really helpful in navigating, well, the complexities of the future of work here in the UK. Do you have any final thoughts or maybe a piece of advice for our listeners as they think about their own futures and all this change?
I think my main advice would be stay curious
Yeah.
and try to embrace change rather than fear it. The future of work isn't just something that's passively happening to us. It's something we are actively shaping, all of us. Whether you're just starting out or you've got decades of experience, that willingness to learn, to adapt, that's your greatest asset. And maybe remember, the ultimate goal here, with AI and automation, it should be to serve humanity, to enhance what we can do, create new opportunities for growth, for contribution. So yeah, adaptability, as we said, is just absolutely key for everyone.
That's wonderful advice. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. It's been incredibly valuable.
My pleasure. Always good to talk about these things.
And thank you to all of you for tuning in to Westferry Times. If you found this discussion helpful, please do give us a like, share the video, and definitely subscribe to the Westferry Times YouTube channel. We have more in-depth conversations coming up on the forces shaping our future. Until next time, goodbye, everyone.